What up, y'all? It's been a long time since I made a Falcons video, but Julio Jones yesterday retired. It was a surprise, but like not a surprise. You know what I'm saying? I guess it was like a surprise to see it. After he left Atlanta, I ain't gonna lie, I like completely dropped tabs on him. Like I just stopped caring, especially since the way that he left and the things that he said about his time. A lot of them didn't really sit right with me. I believe he went to Tampa, the Eagles, and like Tennessee. I think those three teams, something like that. I don't know. After he left Atlanta and didn't do much of anything, I believe he got hurt in that Titans year, and then that was it. He was just a free agent. But yeah, I think my public opinion about him, or my personal opinion about him, changed due to like the way he was speaking about his time on the Falcons. Because to me, by far, it's between him and Roddy White for being the best receiver in the history of the team. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't get better than Julio Jones. You know, and you can see that by just watching Atlanta Falcons games. You feel me? But on the positive side of it, I think Julio is just at his peak. There was no one better to me. I know the debate was always Julio versus DeAndre, you know, and I can't. DeAndre Hopkins in his prime was amazing. You feel me? But Julio Jones to me was just different. And that may be the Atlanta Falcons fan talking, but having a man who was that tall, who could jump that high and catch almost any ball, it was insane, you know. From the game that he won against the Eagles, we threw that curl route and then just darted and we won the game at the end, or the toe tap in the Super Bowl, you know what I'm saying? Or that at one, I think we played the Patriots one year, and it was like in the back corner of the end zone. He just ripped the ball from the Patriots cornerback, and we lost that game. I feel like we were losing that game. But that was just like such a definitive catch. Like he had so many of those, you know. But the huge game, I think he had like 300 yards against Carolina one year. Like he was just an insane receiver to have on your team, you know. And while the Falcons were always a mediocre to somewhat good team, if we had Julio, we always had a chance. And I'll always appreciate him for that, you know. The ending may not have gone the way I wanted it to, and I understand it, you know what I'm saying? I kind of look at it from the perspective like, for Julio to have a game like he had in the Super Bowl and for us to still lose that game, I feel like we never jumped that hoop. We never jumped through that hoop, you know what I'm saying? It was more just like it became our identity. That's why I was so adamant about just like ripping apart what was that Atlanta Falcons team, because we needed to shed that to get to where we're going to go. Where we're going to go, I don't know, but we had to get away from that. You feel me? And it was just Julio, even though I hated that era of Falcons football, he was a gleaming point, you know? So in a way, I just feel like I always have to thank Julio, you know what I'm saying? Julio is a big part of what kept the Falcons relevant, you know, him, the premier playing of Matt Ryan, even though y'all know I don't like him, but Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, man, it doesn't get better than a quarterback and wide receiver duo like that, you know what I'm saying? To me, it's a top 10 quarterback and receiver duo of all time. You know, Matt Ryan and Julio Jones were just unbelievable in their prime and outside of their prime, you know. When you have a receiver to the level of Julio Jones who can catch almost anything, there's no competition out there, you feel me? So I do want to thank Julio for just being what he was when we needed him to be it, you know what I'm saying? Even though the team didn't really fall out for him the way we would have liked, you know what I'm saying? Even though we never got that championship, we never got that big moment that I felt like we had so many chances to get. We still had so many great moments that really just went on to explain the legacy and how great Julio Jones is and was. So, in his prime. So, always will be appreciated from me. I thank Julio for just giving the Falcons something to cheer for, giving the Falcons fans something to cheer for in times where we were laughing stocks, you know. We were embarrassments of leagues, the butt of jokes. Julio Jones kept us somewhat with some dignity, you know what I'm saying, some respect. And I always will appreciate his love for the team, his love for being a great player. And, you know, that's something that you can't take away from him. So, yeah, I wish I had more to say, but if I'm being completely honest with you, mentally I've moved so much to like the future of this Falcons team. The past, I've like made efforts to push it out of my head. You know what I'm saying? Because the past was so bad for us, and while we had our gleaming points like MVP Matt Ryan and Julio most of the time, and other things, it just, seeing how bad we were as a whole is not something that I like going back to. But again, Julio was just, he was always one of those little sparks that we had, He was always the difference between a win or a loss if we had him on the field. If we needed him to be something, most of the time he was, and he will always be appreciated for that. For me, I'm sure from all the Atlanta Falcons fans, and I love seeing all the appreciation from him coming across the league and stuff like that. The appreciation and respect for just one of the greatest wide receivers to ever play the game. Unfortunately uncrowned, but hey, listen, you go type in Julio Jones highlights, you'll see how good this guy was. And there's nothing more to say than that, you know what I'm saying? But always respect. Thank you, Julio Jones, for what you did for the city of Atlanta, for what you did for the team. And the best of wishes in the future endeavors. I hope to see you sometime in the future for some kind of Falcons game, you know what I'm saying? Maybe one year we'll win a championship and Julio can be on the podium with us, you know what I'm saying? Because he definitely deserves it. But yeah, man, it was a great thing to just look back and just see how great this team was when they were rolling. Like when that really good 2016, 2017 team was rolling, unstoppable, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, the only thing that stopped us was ourselves, but that's the way it goes sometimes in the game, But yeah, man, I'm going to try to make more Falcons videos. There's just not much happening in the Falcons, like, news right now, so there's nothing really to talk about. Like, I know Kirk is going through his thing, and it's just, there's nothing really popping off. So if something does pop off, I'll be here for it. But it's just, I'm waiting for, like, some news, like some trades or offseasons. Give me something, Do something so I got something to talk about. But thank y'all for sticking around. If you don't like my wrestling content, I apologize. I got to keep my channel moving, you know what I'm saying, while the Falcons are in this lull period. But I appreciate y'all for staying by, for sticking around. I can't wait for next year. As traumatic as it was, I can't wait for football. As soon as the Super Bowl ended, I was like, damn, I miss the Sunday night football soundtrack and all that stuff. I just miss football a lot. But they'll be back before we know it, and we'll get back on the horse again and see what happens this year. But I appreciate y'all. Be safe out there, and I will see you next video, man.